Welcome to the demonstration of my Tic Tac app. Today I'm going to be showing you how I ended up building this app for a class that I'm in, Applied Programming, and first game looks like it's a tie. So, diving into it, that's the more complicated version of the app, but the first version that I have, then it's this basic version right here, which just uses the console line down here to run the game. So then if you enter in the names of players, we have John and Eli. Then it creates this little game board that has the spaces that are available to be filled in, represented by numbers. And then, say John wants to play in 2, 3, 4. Fill out the game board a little bit, but then if I wanted to, say, take the middle spot, can't do that because it's not an empty space. And then continue the game, and 3 in a row, so it prints out the message, John wins, right at the end there. So then we can run it again, and just erase through a little bit quicker. And this time second player wins. So, as you can see, this program works quite well. You can run it through again just to make sure that when you fill out the game board and it prints out the correct message, it's a draw. And the way that this game works is it creates this character array for the game board, which stores the variables for the whole thing, and then it replaces these numbers in it with the character tokens as you go through it. So then the way it works is it flip-flops the character token when a valid space is chosen between X and O, and then it replaces the number with that character token if it is an empty square. And this right here is the function that draws the game board, so anytime that I need to draw the game board, it prints this. This function here is what we loop through to ask for the numbers right there. So it prints the player name and asks for the number, and then depending on which digit it is, then it replaces the item in that column with the correct token. And so then this right here prints invalid if it's not 1 through 9, didn't test that, but it works also quite well too. So then if we enter in, say 10, then it says invalid. So then for the next part, then this function, then it'll check whether either player has a 3 in a row in the game board by checking all the different possible board states, and it returns true if the same character is in all 3 of those spaces for any of the possible 3 in a rows. And then this checks if every space has been filled, in which case then the game ends as well in a tie. So then this right here, the main function, is what runs the entire thing in a loop. So you ask for the names of the players, and then you run all the different functions through to print out the game board, to check for the token and replace the number with the token for each player. And then this right here is what prints out the little winning message at the very end of the game. So then on to the more complicated version, which I know you've been waiting for. So this one right here, it's still looping through the other one. Control C. And we'll just trash that. So then this one right here, then it works as follows. So then player 2 wins by selecting all 3 going down the middle. And if we go and run it again, then we can have player 1 wins, so. So then player 1 wins, and if it's a draw, then you can do that as well. So all the different options work, and then the way that this works is actually by deleting these buttons and creating new ones with the character token on them. So then you have the game board array, which uses these letters to represent it instead of numbers this time, and you define all the different variables for each of the boxes, and then this is the main window builder that creates a GUI. This was mostly taken from online tutorials, and so then it creates all these different variables which you can edit to create the proper sized GUI window. And then you have this destroy window, I believe it's right down here, that destroys the window if you click the X button, and checks for different messages to update the window. And then you have the create window, which initially creates all the buttons as just empty buttons. And then you have this command function, which this is the one where when a button presses, then it updates it if that button does not already have a value. So cannot select them multiple times to break the system. So then it checks to see if that space is valid, and if it is, then it sets it to that token, and it destroys that button and creates a new button. So then this one does the same thing for player 2, and then this finds a winner. So at the end here, then we check all the different possible combinations for the board, and if any of them are all the same, equals. So if all three are the same, then it prints out that player is the winner, depending on that token. So this just prints out the message if a winner was not already chosen yet. And finally, then if all the possible spaces are filled, then it prints out the game is a tie at the end of the game. So this is my tic-tac-toe up. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, but thank you for watching.